Hello everyone, and welcome back to Warships Blitz with Terry. Today's entertainment is provided by Mr Mime 2387. We're just gonna call him Mr Mime. And even though he's rocking an anime girl avatar, I'm gonna stick with the he here because it's Mr Mime. Anyway, these things, important 2022 decisions out of the way. Mr Mime's in the Colorado, the Tier 7 American Standard Class battleship, and playing in being top tier, playing in a 6v6 against a West Virginia, a Nagato, another Colorado, a New Orleans, and a double Jervis. So yeah, the Colorado, I wasn't a huge fan of that thing because it's too slow. You effectively have to park yourself somewhere in the middle of the map and then play tower defense. Because if you're trying to make if you are required to make any kind of tactical moves, it's going to take an awful lot of time for it to happen. Also, the Colorado isn't magnificently accurate at range, but what the Colorado is pretty good at is tanking, because it's a pretty sturdy ship. So Mr. Mime here, spawning sort of center-ish, is at first going along with the Algerie and the Akatsuki towards the A-Cup. Obviously, the problem would be if he eventually makes it into A-Cup, round about the middle of the game, and there's nothing there in A-Cup, then he's not particularly useful. So, while still being shielded and doing a whopping 21 knots, we started to see where the enemy team is dispositioned. And there's one of the Jervises and the New Orleans. So New Orleans being a good target, first salvo out. And I think that was aimed pretty well because the New Orleans is actually stopping. Yeah, that was pretty nice. 6 out of 8. Not bad, I have to say, on the Colorado. And it looks like there is the other destroyer. So rapid reload up. Still shots out at the New Orleans, but Mr. Mime is now stopping because there was momentarily another Jervis spotted around B-Cup. But it looks like the enemy Jervis isn't particularly interested in rushing a lone undefended battleship and sinking a whole load of torpedoes into it, but rather sails around behind friendly lines, giving Mr. Mime another shot at the New Orleans. And that was once again a pretty good shot. I might have to try the Colorado again. Somebody mentioned in the comments recently that a dispersion spec Colorado is actually not bad. So might give that another shot. Anyway, that Nagato has 3 enemy ships chasing after it. Oh, and that Jervis there as well. So I'll help out a little bit on that side, but the bot Fuso going through B-Cup has managed to capture B. There's the New Orleans again. And there's also the other Jervis. So we do need to be a little careful here. The friendly cruiser is very far out, but New Orleans looks like he's about to stop broadside onto a Colorado once more. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, shots out, and we'll see how that ends up. Yep, not bad, not bad. But we have bigger fish to fry because the bot Fuso has made its way here and is threatening to take B-Cup and just generally being annoying, so that thing needs to die very quickly. Fortunately, the Colorado is sitting at the center of the map, which is where you want to be in a Colorado, and yeah, that hurt. He can probably finish a map with the secondaries, but not going too far forward, because there were 2 Jervises around in the countryside. There is an enemy Colorado, so rapid reload up once more, shots out. But the Colorado is sailing behind an island, and yeah, he doesn't want to sail further forward because yeah, like I said, there is one of the other Jervises who's now smoked up for some reason. So presumably to, I don't know, maybe not get shot at by someone or get his torpedoes away. But there's also a Nagato and a West Virginia sitting back there. So it's time to, yeah, the enemy Jervis is definitely shooting at him. And that was a very nice shot, very nice citadel on the Nagato there. Now he's in a spot of trouble, because there's a Jervis rushing him, and he's in reverse. Now the Colorado isn't outrunning anything forward. In reverse, it's positively pedestrian. So shots at the other Colorado. I would have probably loaded the high explosive at this point, but it looks like Mr. Mime here is extremely confident in, and I think that confidence is getting approved in the, well, not great amount of skill or experience on the enemy Jervis's player, because there come the single fire torps, and yes, the, he literally changed. Oh, that is not a bad pattern actually. One single fire spread and 2 spreads out, but yeah, he bonked into an island. He managed to hit 1 torpedo, and now he's out of torpedoes. So Mr. Mime looks like he's just going to ignore him, because the Jervis isn't a particularly large threat, because he's sailing around in front of him, waiting for his torpedoes to reload, and doesn't seem to be inclined to actually rush a battleship and take it out. And there's also a Nagato, which is a bigger problem. And there's a friendly destroyer shooting at the Jervis, and they're ahead in points. So might as well get into a brawl with the Nagato. Now the Nagato is a very, very good ship, and is actually not a terrible brawler. The secondaries on the Nagato are nothing to sneeze at, and they started out with round about the same amount of hit points, but that is a pretty equal fight. So it's time to use the secret brawling weapon that the Colorado has, which is the rapid reload. And yes, the Jervis is now finally starting to give chase. But, and yeah, ow, that hurt. That must have been a salvo from the Nagato, because that definitely hurt. The Jervis is going to catch up, because this is the Colorado we're talking about. But Mr. Mime has no time to deal with such trifle things. He needs to have, he has a Nagato to kill, and that thing is on no hit points. So come on, just a couple of secondary hits, which should be doing it, and then he turns away, dodges most of the return fire, survives miraculously, but now he's obviously screwed, right? Well, he would be. He would be if that Jervis knew a thing or two about torpedo rushing a battleship. Yeah. he might take 1, but he's still on 1,000 hit points. Now the Jervis could have killed him right here and there with the guns, right? The Jervis is now coming under fire, and it's now the last ship alive, and is now coming under fire. He is trying to his credit, kill him with the guns, but the München has taken out the Jervis, and that is the end of the battle. So extremely well played, Mr. Mime in the Colorado. That is certainly not something I've seen a lot. Now, to a degree, the enemy team is to blame here, because you should have been dead about 3 times over in the middle of it, sitting unsupported in front of a Jervis or 2. But yeah, sometimes the enemy team is playing in the right direction. So yeah, thanks a lot for sending that one in. I'm definitely going to have to try the Colorado again, because that was impressive, especially the accuracy on these things. And yeah, well done. Thank you. And thanks everybody for joining, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.